August 19th, 6 p.m. here in Los Angeles. I'm Jack Armstrong.
And 9 p.m. here in the DMV. I'm Sam Giacinto, and you're listening to Tech Talk Live. Welcome to the show. Lots to talk about. Before we get started, a quick word from Before Sunset AI. Before Sunset AI is your productivity superpower. Use code Tech Talk Live for 3 months free to conquer your conquests. And with that,
Absolutely.
onto the
Manage
show.
your to-dos. Lots to do. Yeah. Lots going on. We were off last week, and actually, it's been kind of a fairly quiet tech space lately. Not a whole lot going on. We are awaiting the Pixel 10 launch tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's exciting. I mean, Google's really catching up and leading kind of the way with AI over Apple's, kind of failed launch of integrating AI. Like they're not doing a good job, and Google's looking really good. So
Well, you
we're
bring up
gonna
a great
be. Oh, yeah.
Gemini has been, in a lot of, in some ways, the front runner of larger context windows, among other, they've been trading blows with, OpenAI and Anthropic, and kind of combined with the Pixel event, we've kind of had some ads, trading barbs with Apple Intelligence, kind of mocking the, coming soon definition, which has been used on Apple Intelligence for the better part of a year now. Um, you know, so kind of like you should, if you're going to change your definition of coming soon, maybe you should change your, phone instead. So perhaps a lot of Gemini specific AI features, so Pixel exclusive, perhaps, or otherwise. We'll have the Pixel 10, the Pixel 10 XL, um, as well as the Pixel Fold, which could be getting a lot of attention. The Fold 7 is there. You go. We swap sides, but
I think
just
we
talking about
have
the
an issue.
Pixel.
Also, I can't see your live stream. Sorry, hold up. Sorry for the technical. Okay, there we are. We're back. Our stream is live. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Continue, Sam.
But no, just talking about the Pixel 10 Fold and
Yeah.
the Galaxy Fold 7, which just came out. So again, huge strides from Samsung in the foldable arena, as well as we'll have to see. I mean, between the Fold 7 and the Pixel 10 Fold, um, I think we'll have a lot of compelling options for the foldable market. I think it's something where I'm kind of at the point where I would honestly consider it. It seems like we've worked out all the high profile kinks and issues, from the first, foldable devices. Um, and I think, quite famously, I don't know, you know, the validity of it, but Jerry Rig Everything likes to break phones. So he tried to break the Fold 7 by bending it backwards in the middle. And it bent. Um, but it's, still, it was still on, even though it bent more than 180 degrees open. Um, so I think that's, quite incredible, honestly, to sort of see, the first Samsung Fold had a screen protector that broke the phone when you took it off. And now it's like we're here, at least from a durability standpoint, huge strides. Um, and one last thing I'll say is that they should have called the Pixel 10 the Pixel X, and they should have called it X
Hmm.
versus Apple writing out the X and then calling it iPhone 10. I think that would have been a really subtle way to kind of take back the marketing prowess. It's like, we're going to call it the Pixel X because X equals 10, and we're not going to call it Pixel X and then call it Pixel 10. when you speak it out, even though it's written different. So I think they had I think Google kind of fumbled that kind of marketing, really barbed they could have used. Because very famously, the iPhone X was, it's like we call it iPhone 10, but we just put the X
Mhm.
there to make it look cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's also worth noting, I was kind of looking into, I again, I know it's not a huge feature, but I think it's we always talk about the cameras, right? Everyone wants to know how's battery life, how's the cameras, and it's worth noting the Pixel 10 will not have a LiDAR sensor, which can also obviously help for focusing, autofocus, with a better speed. And it's worth noting, that's still not going to be on the Pixel 10. So obviously Pixel phones have the temperature sensor, which is cool. You can now take your body temperature from your temple with the infrared, with the sensor on the back of the Pixel, which is really neat. Honestly, there's not many phones doing that. So, eventually that might come its way to Apple. Um, we have other news, I guess we'll get to in a little bit with the Apple Watch. But anyway, but yeah, no, I think that is one of the features that I feel like, again, if you're comparing, the build quality of both, I think they're really similar. And I wonder, will more people want to switch to an Android, to a Pixel phone from an iPhone? So we'll see. Leaving the ecosystem is always a little tricky. I think it's kind
I
of like,
mean, I'm honestly
yeah,
considering it, but again, as you said, the ecosystem makes it difficult, and Apple knows this, right?
yeah,
It's I feel like it's tough, I mean, the thing is like it's a very compelling product. Um and essentially, I mean, it's hard because, the Pixel is a much better phone, but then it's also um it's just Apple makes it a pain in the butt.
yeah. Well, and
And
also I think with the LiDAR uh details, it's worth mentioning that the iPhones are capturing spatial imagery today. Even though we don't all have VR headsets, AR glasses, I think in a future where we do have that, I think it's worth noting that the phones we're using today, like our iPhones, they can capture that spatial data, and don't forget that that technology will also come down in price, and it'll be more accessible to people, where everyone might have a VR headset in the future, really. Or if they don't have a VR headset, maybe they have a sleep mask with something that has tech in it. I don't know. Like, or maybe they have a thing on the airplanes where they use it in certain situations, right? So I think it's, even if you don't own one, I think the benefit of capturing spatial images, it becomes more apparent in the future, where your phone, again, wow, I was taking these photos the whole time, and that might set the iPhone apart. So I think LiDAR also, there's cool apps like Polycam, that'll you can scan objects. And also it's really worth noting, to measure objects, you can use LiDAR, and it's very accurate on the iPhone. So you have a laser measuring tool in your pocket, basically, that's pretty good. So I mean, there's little things like that, but I mean, hey, the Pixel 10 is still going to have the satellite functionality, and I think we might see kind of more integration this year with T-Mobile doing satellite connectivity. I know that we were talking about, the 2 years, I believe, that you get when you buy a new phone. So Apple hasn't really talked about this, like how. will satellite. I mean, they advertise the satellite features, or send your location when you don't have service, or send a text when you don't have service, but they don't really. They're not limiting it to emergencies only. I don't know if you've noticed that, but if you're in a remote area, you can still try to send a text message over satellite, and your new iPhone will let you do that.
Well, that's I mean, for yeah, and I guess like that's maybe one specific feature the iPhone still has over the Pixel or other lineups, I guess, is like, satellite internet connectivity. But even I guess T-Mobile just offers that with their phone plan now, right? So
Yeah,
it's like
right.
I don't know. I mean, again, kind of the weakest case ever. I mean, I've been following the iPhone 17 Pro leaks. Um, it just seems very underwhelming. As far as you know, it just everything about it is just like, you gotta be kidding me. But then the thing is like, does that make me a sucker if I buy it? And
Yeah.
it's honestly, I have to balance like, in some ways I don't care, but in other ways it's like, why am I giving them my money if it's just so bad? It's like you have to,
Yeah.
stand up at some point, right?
Well, because you have an older iPhone, right? So this would be the moment of like, do I upgrade or do I not?
Well, essentially, yeah. I mean, I have the 13 Pro Max, so that's kind of the best iPhone ever made. The 14 was garbage. The 15 was garbage minus the USB-C port, and then the 16, I guess, added a button or something. But
Yeah.
I take great pride in that the 13 had the most viewable screen area, small notch. It's in the top. There's no useless. I understand there's the dynamic island, but that screen area that's above the island, just to show you it's not a notch and it's an island, is like the most useless little piece of screen. Like,
Yeah.
do you ever see anything up there? I mean, it's just sort of like it just moves it more into the screen to make it look
Yeah.
different. I mean, that's really I mean, let's be honest. Like that was the innovation, right? It was we made the notch a different shape so people can tell you have a newer phone. Oh, and it cuts into your video a bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
But it does display like when your phone's using, location services or the microphone. So it's not all bad though. Like it can be nice that
I mean, there's some
it's
uses
doing.
for the dynamic island. I mean, we could have had a dynamic notch too. I mean, right? Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but anyway, we'll have to honestly next week will probably be a Pixel update, just given that we'll sort of have a more adequate introduction to kind of what was introduced and what people are thinking about it. I almost kind of like it because it allows kind of the dust to settle. Then again, who's going to be scrambling for Pixel news at that point? But it allows us to kind of zoom out and kind of give a little bit better perspective. Uh,
Absolutely. No, I mean, I think there's a lot of people feeling like Gemini is leading the way with just AI, and also how it can do more on your phone. Like I feel like, for example, when you ask Siri with Apple Intelligence to do something in your home, good luck. You're probably not going to get it to do that. It actually is worse than the other Siri, right? Apple Intelligence is really not able to kind of go, I don't want to say into apps, but it's not really able to understand like context of the requests, right? And so like if you're asking Siri to play a song or change a light, or which again, we've for the past decade, we've had these we've had this smart technology in our homes where we've had hue lights, we have smart locks. Like it's not uncommon for you to have these devices. So for Apple really to not integrate that, like they've been pushing Apple Home, they've been pushing, the secure home kit and wallet and all those features. It's like, so for your Apple Intelligence to not be able to cross a request into your home app, like that's what it's been doing so that you don't have to go manually into the app. Anyway, it's kind of gotten worse at also combined requests. So I think Google, the Gemini functionality, it's baked in a smarter way. I feel like. With messaging, with making calls, with screening calls. I mean, I don't know if you know that, but like if you get a call on your Pixel, it'll screen the call. It'll also wait for you intelligently on hold. Like there's a lot of features that like in the background even just your phone app is doing, which is pretty incredible. So I think there's a lot there really is a big advantage of the Pixel and Android ecosystem that Apple is really missing with Apple Intelligence. So yeah, can they get it together? I don't know. We'll see.
Well, and it's
So we also
because
yeah,
those features are coming. They're coming later, for iPhone.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I feel like, anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But in other news, we have a lot of going on with Tesla these days and new lawsuits that are really holding and kind of showing the limitations of their self-driving technology.
Well, and I mean, this is a tragic, but a tragic, if not, uh, at least a breaking
Well,
development. But
it's terrible. Well, we had an episode a few months ago with a lawyer. We were talking about where does liability fall, and this is a perfect example here of uh, Tesla being responsible as the autopilot technology manufacturer. Um, they are basically holding accountable, uh, like the manufacturer of the including in Miami earlier in the month on the 2nd of August. We also found that a jury in Miami found Tesla partially responsible for a deadly accident there. And yeah, it's really kind of concerning that we see even, yeah, the California Department of Motor Vehicles is suing Tesla because of false advertising about autopilot features. And they're looking to suspend, I don't know if you know this, but the California Department of Motor Vehicles is actually seeking to suspend sales of Teslas in the state.
well, and yeah, again, I mean, this is a very I guess a Florida, Miami jury, Miami, I guess federal court, awarded the family of a victim of a fatal crash, I guess $240 million. And it's notable because it's the first jury verdict or trial to go in front of court versus being settled out of court. And I guess the important aspect is that it can establish precedent, right? So there could be further claims that, you know, Tesla for other pilot, incidents could be held liable. Um,
Yeah.
so again, that was kind of the breaking news as far as that goes. But again, this incident occurred in 2019 to kind of give you a sort of frame of reference as far as the time it takes for we've spoken a lot about how long it can take for something to kind of weave its way through the court system. So this court case alone took long, twice as long really as it has been since the inception of ChatGPT to reach um,
Yeah.
a verdict. So again, when we're talking about all of these, copyright lawsuits and whatnot, there's a very real chance that this could just be swept away before, um, you know, well beyond when it's relevant. Um, so, between this and the robo taxi rollout in Austin, um, you know, um, but I mean, obviously, I guess you could say there's a response that's somewhat typical. It's never actually investors, it's always shitty class action lawyers grifting for their percentage of the verdict. They are a scum of the earth, the worst human being I've ever encountered. Sick. But it's just sort of like, so Elon has a hot take on it. I mean, obviously, like, the fact of the matter is the soul was taken away from us. And you really have to ask, like, what has been stated and what has been delivered. Uh, and I mean, I think, you know, depending on who you ask, it's like some people are just sort of like, this is the price of progress, and other people may be a little bit more conservative. And it kind of airs
Yeah.
into the larger moral question of, the five trolley problem. But with AI, it's like, if AI driving is 10 times as safe, and, is that still, is one life taken from AI versus free will different than, 10 taken by free will? It's a very kind of blurry line as far as the ethics are concerned. Um, and it's a tough question to answer. I don't know. I mean, if you're an absolutist, you would say, well, whatever's safer, you know. So if AI driving safer, this could be the unfortunate price for some, that's some people consider.
Well,
Um,
AI driving, I feel like Autopilot, it's at least more consistent. I don't think it's perfect, but also, like, is that distracted driver that was on their phone or that drank and drove too soon after drinking, or whatever situation, like sleep deprived or whatever. I mean, there is a benefit to just a self-driving system taking over and being better. But yeah, I feel like they don't it has the ability. If all cars were self-driving, I feel like this would be a different conversation. Do you see what I mean? Because then the roads would be less, it would just be strictly cars driving themselves. But of course, there would also be objects and obstacles in the way. But at least when it comes to other vehicles, it just would be the norm, right? So I feel like it's really hard now when this technology, and also we see like Waymo, where Waymo is probably safer than Tesla Autopilot self-driving, right? Because
well,
they use a different mapping system. So it's also strange. Tesla's in the car selling business. They want to sell cars that have autopilot, right? Because look, our culture is still defined by owning cars. For the foreseeable future, I don't think people are going to stop buying cars. Like, I do think people are still going to be buying cars. They're not going to be subscribing to a service of robo taxis. However, that probably is coming at some point, especially in cities where you'll have robo taxis that you subscribe to. Why have a car in the city anymore? If you had a car in a city like LA or Seattle or San Francisco, why at that point when you can get wherever you want for cheaper and you don't even have to drive or have all the costs of having a car. So, but like right now, it's not like that at all. You know, like right now, people are still buying cars and driving them and filling them up with gas. And so it's a different conversation. We're not really having that conversation yet, you know?
well, and that's, I mean, and I hate to say time will tell, but for a lot of these things, there's just so much uncertainty that we'll really, we'll have to see like how well at least Robotaxi versus Waymo plays out. I mean, I like to see the comparisons once we have a larger group of or a number of miles. Um,
Mhm.
you know, so it's it's really going to be a just keep your eyes peeled on the road. Whether you're a pedestrian or driving, um, as you see more and more of these deployed uh, in the wild. I think
Yeah.
is the takeaway. I don't, and I probably wouldn't ride in one of them just yet, but I'm risk
Mhm.
averse, so I hardly drive really at all anymore. But some people may not be in a place to have that privilege, so I understand.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not in a car, or excuse me, if you're not in a city, you probably still need a car. So, I mean, cars aren't going away anytime soon. But I think how city driving changes, we are already seeing. I mean, Waymo's now near you actually on the East Coast. So I'm sure you're starting to see those all over like DC area. And I mean, I don't know. Have you
I've
noticed
seen a
like
few
anything about
throughout. I don't really
oh,
necessarily know what they're doing, but
so it's another option. It's another option for people to get around. Have you seen a lot of people taking them? Are they helping? Like, have you like how is it
few and
impacting?
tests. So I guess
Huh?
they're just mapping. Um, they're currently mapping right now.
So can you take it as a customer yet
Um, so to be completely honest, I don't even know how you request one. Just
with the
because I don't
Waymo
think
app?
I would ever want to. But let's see.
You would never want to. Okay.
Yeah, maybe not for another like 10, 20 years.
I've taken them
Right?
here a good bit. I mean, I have to say it's
It's
better. It's
fine,
cleaner.
I'm sure some people enjoy it, but I think I guess I'm just gonna,
It's a very modern experience, that's for sure.
you know,
But you know what you're gonna get. Yeah, it's a clean experience. I mean, I don't know. I think it's nice to have the option, because people need competition. Lyft and Uber can't be the only, and taxis can't be the only ways of getting around. Of course, we've got public transit, which is good, but it doesn't get you everywhere all the time, exactly when you need to go. So, if Waymo can fill in the gaps and offer a safe alternative, I don't know, but Tesla's also been talking about doing a whole robotaxi fleet, which is a little more concerning because their technology does not seem ready, which I think is the big difference here. We don't see the California, hold on, I don't want to misspeak here in this article from the LA Times. Yeah, we don't see the California Department of Motor Vehicles. Um, we don't see them really going after Waymo in the same way. So I think it's very different how we have both, you know. It's crazy. Like Tesla's like rushing and they're falsely advertising so they can sell more vehicles and people can buy it because it's a cool technology. But then Waymo is like, you don't own that technology. You just get transported in the vehicle. And they're playing better with regulators and they're also mapping roads. Again, speaking of LiDAR, Tesla's really only using vision now. They don't put LiDAR because they're trying to cut costs. So you even see, Tesla cutting costs so that they can sell cheaper vehicles so that they can make more money. So theoretically their autopilot and self-driving features are less safe because the technology is vision only, which yes is how humans drive, but when it's a computer driving itself and like when it's a system driving, like you probably need for those edge cases extra sensors that only LiDAR can really help provide that. So yeah, I think it's fascinating seeing their approach. Don't you think?
No, and you bring up a good point, and that's at least for me, that's kind of why I know that's been, perhaps one of Elon's favorite arguments as well. Humans drive with just their eyes, right? But we're also not that great at it. There are ways you can augment. I mean, if you're a good driver, right, you'll look 2, 3, 5 cars ahead if you can to anticipate, a braking event or something. And if you're using just a camera and your vision is obstructed, or if your eyes are obstructed, you can't do that. But if you're using lidar or radar mounted on the bottom of the car, maybe you can see. Um, so that's kind of an example of, like, there's no reason not to include additional sensors, um, on the vehicle that a computer can utilize. I just think, this, and it's all speculation, but it could have been a cost thing that sort of needed to be justified. Um, it could have been um, I mean, I'm just trying to think of another explanation, but I mean, LiDAR sensors are expensive, especially automotive grade ones. So, you really do need to, I mean, I don't know how to look at it, is kind of the point I'm getting at, just because it's like, well, you know, basically just say it uses cameras and cameras are good enough because people drive with cameras. Well, that's not, always the case. As far as, like, if it's a computer, you're right, like it can utilize more. Um, so why shouldn't it? As far as that goes.
Yeah. Well, again, it's excuse me, it goes down to the fact that there's a computer driving, and the more data and the more accuracy that you can get from the sensors, the better it's going to be. And so I think that's really the crazy point here, where we see these lawsuits really targeting Tesla, not only for updating the software, but if they want to be a leader in having a robo-taxi network that can compete with Waymo or the Zooks. Don't forget, we see other ones. Or what was that other one? Oh gosh, why can't the Chevy, the Cruise?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we already saw decommissioning that. I think if they want to be competing, they're going to probably need to go back to establish trust. And that doesn't mean every car, like, they can still have advanced driving features in a vision system with a human driver, who's responsible. But when they falsely advertise full self-driving, I mean, as a former owner, I remember what it was like. And
Yeah. Yeah.
those cars really, like, it was very cool technology, but they should not have been calling it full self-driving, because it never was really driving itself. It's just really automating it, not fully, again. Like, so it's just they're lying about it. I mean, they should have called it like advanced autopilot or standard autopilot. And I mean, that makes a little more sense, because people understand that autopilot is a feature that helps you drive, but you still need to pay attention. It's not full self-driving. So the fact that they market it like with this whole way where your average consumer just thinks, oh, it drives. Oh yeah, Elon's right. Like, it just can drive itself. They're not to that level yet. And Waymo is at that level, but they also map the streets, they use lidar, it's a completely different system. So I we shouldn't really be trusting what we hear from Tesla's marketing team anytime soon. So, and I
Really.
think it's sad, because but we see people dying like, and these lawsuits coming out holding Tesla accountable, mainly for those reasons. Um, you know, because they're misleading customers. That's the difference. So I think, anyway, we encourage, yeah, if any of our listeners wants to join the conversation, we're on, don't forget, we're on X, which is kind of an ironic thing to say talking about this. But we are on X at tech_talk_live. Yeah, join the conversation on our X. Would be fascinating if anybody wants to keep this going and is curious about should Tesla be still advertising it like this? You know, and is it on the consumer to realize, but when they're behind the wheel, or is it really on the manufacturer to not be falsely advertising their features to be greater than they really are?
Well, yeah, is it buyer beware? It's and also like, how are you supposed to
Yeah.
judge a self-driving system when, as far as we know, there's academics who, honestly can't do it either. I mean, it's hard. It's difficult. You're not like you can't judge everything as a consumer. So,
Yeah.
definitely something to think about. Thinking of something else, however,
Yeah.
I saw that this was a cool app you sent over. Um, you know, and I guess so we have touched on the concept of a super app, right? That kind of aggregates multiple other applications together. Um, but this could be one of those apps. I guess what did you find out today?
Well, so the Bright app, .xyz, basically Bright OS is their app. It's in the App Store, I believe, only on iOS right now. So only for iPhones at the moment. Uh, it is they're growing. This company is hiring a lot of developers. They're expanding into their vault system. So imagine an app that, yeah, compiles all of your data about your health in one place and shares bits and pieces of it when you want securely, with encryption, and it can unlock, I just think we haven't really seen this from anyone. And I think there's a big need for not only the consumer having, the taste of everything, but not only to log their meals and their workouts, but um really, yeah, to be able to share with providers, to be able to share and own their data. So I think it's really cool what, yeah, Bright OS is doing, and their app, I've been using it. It is really impressive. It's really well designed. Yeah, I mean, I really can't recommend it enough. Again, download it. I think try the free trial. It's like $10 a month or something like that, or $100 a year. It's a really reasonable price. And again, like if you've ever tried like My Fitness Pal, or something like that, it is nothing like that. It's so much better, so much more modern, and it just displays everything that's important to you in, three different views. Whether you're tracking your macros, whether you're tracking your workouts and recovery, sleep, activity, your weight, heart rate data. And so they're really, really doing a good job. They have quite a large database. It's also worth noting. In the past, when I've used tracking apps for like calories and stuff or macros, they don't really have all the barcodes. If you eat something off the shelf, they don't have all of the barcodes, but I have not had any issues. Every single thing I have tried to scan with this app to log it to my health log, uh, it just works really well. And then there's another app that's, I think we might have mentioned this in the past, but it's it's pretty popular. It's called Cal AI. It tracks your calories by taking a
Oh
picture.
yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can
Uh,
supposedly take a picture
Again,
of accurate
why
result.
pay for that when that is built into this? Again, here we are. Like, if you're paying for that, you should switch to the Bright OS app because, again, the same functionality, and I personally think the interface is better. So anyway, you just get a really well designed health app. If you're eating something, great, snap a picture. It calculates all your macros, all your calories. It looks at what it is. What is that, meat? Is that carb? Like, what What is it?
So,
And
I mean, how accurate is
yeah,
that? Has anyone ever
it's pretty accurate.
actually
Well, again, you could say the same thing to Cal AI. How accurate is that? I mean, they've
well,
trained these
yeah, it's
models.
more so, yeah, the thing in general, right?
Yeah.
Um,
But they've trained these models, like, so it can tell and again, I don't know if this is, again, like, why it's only on iOS, but LiDAR, again, it's probably using that spatial data when you're taking that photo. It can tell how big that bowl is. It's not just like again, it can tell how big your plate is. It can tell again, and that's important when you're calculating macros because if it can estimate based on a few millimeters because you're snapping a picture in front of you like of your plate like as long as it can see all the ingredients it does a good job whether it's a chipotle bowl whether it's a burrito you slice open or whatever like I think and then also it's worth noting if you don't take a photo or scan with a barcode, you can describe it in extreme detail. Obviously, the more detailed you are with exactly what you ate and exactly the ingredients and the quantities, it'll
16
calculate your macros. So anyway, and listen, this app is more than I will just tell you this from using it. It's more than just tracking your food. It's sleep, it's recovery, it's meal planning, it's anyway, it's really, really impressive. I think this app is really cool and it's really well designed. I mean, I just can't say enough about it. I've never seen a health app that's combining data sources from your Apple Watch, your sleep ring, your Whoop, your mattress, or whatever you've got. Whatever smart wearables you're doing, whatever apps you're. And here's the other thing: if you like MyFitnessPal, great, import that data. You can link your account to the Bright app. That way, the Bright app becomes this operating system for your health. So the Bright OS app is really a super app for your health and I don't really even know where to begin. It does so much, whether it's activity tracking, smart health, meal logging, integrating with, things like Peloton, Withings, Garmin, Fitbit, Chronometer, MyFitnessPal, Strava. I mean, it's just integrating with different things. The features are really, really, really impressive with macro tracking, different, goal setting, your weight, different projections to manage your recovery. And then I think it's worth noting, they've got a roadmap on their website, and then developers are also encouraged to start using their API because they're basically building health infrastructure. If you look at it like this, um, and here's the other thing that's worth noting: like Bright OS should probably be charging more than they are. It's really impressive what they have, and I think it's a pretty good price. Um, so again, for an app like this, that I mean, even let me look at Cal AI. Are you familiar with Cal AI's pricing?
I am not, no.
Let me look it up. Okay, so Cal AI, it's a very popular, really
I'm
well
reading
respected. So Cal AI, let's see. Cal AI is uh, for 1 year, it's $30, maybe $50. It looks like 1 month is $6. So again, why would you pay $3 or $6 I mean, it's just crazy. I think the pricing is really good. So for an app that's doing exactly what Cal AI is doing, plus 100 other things, I think it's like I'm not saying Cal AI is bad, or I'm not saying Chronometer is bad, or MyFitnessPal is bad. I'm just saying it's very impressive how this app is using AI, large language models, and they're syncing your data so that it can give you better insights and it can display your goals and an action plan in such a good way. And I just feel like we've never really seen an app taking all of your data, combining it with a really powerful database, and then, you know, you get it for a reasonable price, you get access to everything. I mean, it's really well made, and I think it's the best health app I've noticed. And yeah, this just came out. I think it's growing really rapidly. I know if you follow their Reddit, I was reading their Reddit page. They've got a lot of updates on there and a lot of people they've been hiring. So it's pretty cool for anyone in the health space. Um, and there's a lot. I mean, it's also worth noting, speaking of something else that's coming out, I know I shared this with you. I know nothing about
Yeah.
this company, but it's kind of weird, but it's called Pondo, and they're going to be launching soon on,
Pondo.
I think, Kickstarter. It's an AI-powered camera that goes on your toilet and manages and
Yeah.
tracks your poop. I mean, but listen, this is a camera that apparently has seen a lot of poop. And I know it's kind of weird to say that, but um, if it looks at your stool and says, "Oh, you've got some floating, little small," I mean, I don't know. It's interesting that it can track your gut. It gives you insights about your gut microbiome based on your stools that it's tracking from anyway, it's called getpondo.com, coming soon. But anyway, the reason I think about this, right, is we have never seen more health tech. Look, I'm not saying every toilet in the future is going to be tracking your poop and your urine, but I'm just saying that, are we ready with an app like Bright OS for our health data? Like, think about it. I know we've got Apple Health. I know people have, Google, Samsung Health. I know Fitbit and Strava, but I'm talking like a true database, like a true health, like vault, right? For your data. Because we are going to have, I mean, think about how many people now wear sleep rings. Now people are tracking their sleep. People are tracking their blood sugar. People are tracking their heart rate. People are going to be tracking their urine. I mean, Withings just came out with a thing for your urine in the toilet. And you pee on it, and it's got these cartridges, and it tracks your urine, like biomarkers in your urine. Vitamin levels, ketone levels, cortisol levels, all sorts of things, like, are you deficient in any vitamins? Are you, like, again, you can learn a lot about your health from urine, whether you have STDs. I mean, think about it. There's a lot that is in your urine. So are we prepared as a society in the future to have, with all of these tech tools, really to have our health data in from all these sources in one place that we can then safely share with apps in a secure way? So I think that's kind of the benefit of this. But yeah, this Pondo thing is definitely strange. It's very interesting, but I don't know what to describe it as. But yeah, it's like a smart camera that is starting to redefine gut health by analyzing your stools, uh, that from your toilet. So it's like a little device that I believe it's only using a camera. But yeah, if you also haven't seen the Withings, this is a new, this came out a few months ago. It's the Withings
Yeah.
U-Scan. Are you familiar with this?
I'm
Or is
looking.
it called Bima? I think it's called Bima.
That's the U-Scan Nutrio.
Oh, yes. Okay, I thought they were gonna call it something else. Yes, exactly. The U-Scan Nutria. Yeah.
Um,
And this
I
is not cheap. The
yeah,
cartridges are like $100 a month, and the device is almost 400. But it goes in your toilet, and it tracks your urine, and it gives you a lot of biomarkers, and helps you. Yeah, it's again, this is the kind of technology that we're now seeing tracking your urine. Like, how crazy is this?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know what you would need about it. I mean, it's just, I think this could be an example of maybe too much data.
Yeah,
I mean, so I mean, say you pee and your vitamin C is just out of whack. It's like, well, what am I gonna do? Like, take more vitamin C, I guess, but that's one of the most common nutrients to get. So I don't know.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, there's also I don't know if you've seen this too. There's another company that's fairly new, um, that is doing vitamins, but they're doing it in a very different way. And so I think it's called Phi Health. And this is another very interesting
health. Okay.
Phi.health. It's like this. I'll send you the link. So PHI dot health. And they're doing these day stacks and these night stacks. So you basically get day vitamins and night vitamins that are fully optimized um, for different things. And if you look at the science, so if you go on phi.health/stack/science, you can read the science behind the stack. And so again, I think a device like the UScan Nutrio and the Bright Health OS app is very broad. Obviously, a lot of people would find value from that. But the poop tracking and this urine tracking thing. I mean, this is just a glimpse into the future of all these health gadgets, right? That are coming out. And then also, it's worth noting this the Fi stack is is I don't know how to describe it, but there are vitamins and like nano capsules like that are very easy for your body to absorb. And they
Mm. What? So nano
yeah.
capsule?
So it just gives your body everything. Instead of buying, a dozen different vitamins, you basically just buy this one thing that combines everything into one day and night vitamin stack thing. And yeah, it's about $120 a month for all your vitamins. So theoretically, everything your body needs that your body might not be getting. But again, there's also companies that don't forget. There's also companies that make custom vitamins. Have you seen those companies?
Um, no, I mean it's so it's just I mean I just take a multivitamin every day. You know,
Yeah.
I don't the whole nano. I mean it's like it's a whole subscription based model. I mean it's like I don't know a multivitamin is like 10 cents a day. Um, I mean
Well, you see, like Ritual is also another company doing similar things with vitamins. There's
yeah,
also
I've heard of seed and all that. Supposedly super probiotic.
oh
It's
yeah.
I think I mean I do think it, especially supplements. It's this is the wild west of uh really, and I would encourage people to be especially careful, especially with what you put into your body, not even from a conspiratorial standpoint, but it's like, these nano capsules of stuff that look cool. Um, okay, like a multivitamin for like prenatal multivitamin.
What are you
Like
looking at?
like I'm looking at Ritual basically.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Um,
there's a lot of
I'm
customized
just
like
looking at
things.
any,
Yeah.
for any third party, lab testing from anybody. I mean, really, it's just like, is this just, I mean, it's just like, what in the world?
Yeah.
I mean, and they talk
Yeah.
about all the stuff they put in it, but then it's like, okay, well, do we have any sort of third-party testing from anybody? And there's a quote unquote clinical study. So that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think ritual, I mean, this is just an example, and I think this stuff's gonna get more personalized. It's worth mentioning that. I really do. I think it's just a matter of time before this stuff gets more personalized. I can't remember the company right now that's doing it, but there is a company that they send you a blood test, they analyze your body, and then they make you personal vitamins. I actually used to have it. It's why it's kind of funny I don't remember it. But yeah, and they make these really, they were kind of disgusting actually to take them, because they were basically these little um packets that have beads, like little micro beads, and you just drink them with water and swallow these beads. It was really weird. But yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, like that was definitely something like that. Wow, woo.
I guess is this routine.co?
It was not routine. I have heard of that as well. Routine.co.
Micro
um
micro beads.
yeah, it
What?
was not routine. I don't think it was a little. Was it routine? Hold on one second. No, it was not routine, unless routine has rebranded recently.
Was it
Personally, no, I don't remember. There's also another company, I will say, Care of. Have you heard of Care of? I will
I
say I used to have this. This is a really cool vitamin system. I think it's really easy for people to make these personal packs, and they basically have a catalog. I don't know if they're still doing it, honestly. I feel like they used to make personal vitamin pouches, and now they don't seem like they really are doing that. Their website, Care of, I don't think is doing what they used to do. I don't think they are doing it anymore. Um, but I can't remember it. If I think of it, I'll follow up another episode. But I really like the stack personally. That's me. I think it's worth it. If you buy vitamins, if you're already buying vitamins a lot, like, and you're buying different things, like vitamins can get expensive. You're spending $20 for this, $40 for this, and it is kind of nice, assuming, I don't want to say assuming you trust the company, but I think, again, with any health tech, with any supplements, I mean, these are not regulated, and I think you just kind of have to realize that,
you
not
bring
that
up
there's going to be nothing in them. Sorry, say
it's
that again?
this is buyer beware and kind of like evaluating the self-driving technology.
Yeah,
Um, it's hard to, I mean, again, like it's difficult to know what you're getting into, really.
yes,
Um,
yes, yeah,
so I don't know. I mean, I would, tread with caution, uh, you know,
yeah,
because I think, I mean, I just watched a kind of short form documentary on, how easy it is to essentially with $10,000 start your own supplement company, pay for a few ads, and then boom, all of a sudden you're selling. You buy some random vitamin from some guy, put it in a box, say, this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. Bam, slap that bad boy on there, and you can sell anything you want.
yeah. I don't think it's that easy, but yeah, you have to be careful with any new tech, with any health supplement, with whatever. And I think it's really interesting, the broader. We'll have to follow up with apps like Bright OS, because I think it's really crazy what they're doing, and I highly recommend it. We don't have any discounts with the podcast. Sorry, I think it's a pretty cheap, reasonably priced app. Try it out. Believe there's a free trial. I forget, but pretty cool. And yeah, pretty new. They started last year, end of last year. So cool new companies, always trying to check new things out. Well, thanks for tuning in. We're here every Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back next week with another episode. More tech and following up on the Pixel launch. Stay tuned.
It's going to be a wild one.